right, everybody, we're getting started with our second Cabral host call of the weekend. This is my opportunity to be able to answer our community's questions each and every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. We try to get to about 10 to 12 questions per weekend. It really just depends on the length of the question, how in-depth it is, and how many we get through. So always excited to see what has come in, all things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, health practitioner-based questions. Always happy to do my best. And these ones are right now, let's see, we're looking at about 7-6. And today as this debuts, it's 9-10. So that's not bad. That's about 9 weeks or so. So we're catching up a little bit in terms of the delay, in terms of your question being asked. And like I said, without further ado, let's dive in. Let's see what questions the community has this week. Cindy's up first. Cindy's saying, I have used your daily level 3 protocol for a few years now, but I only use half of the multivitamin due to cost because I share it with my teenage son. I do purchase additional omega-3 so that I get 2 grams daily, and I use 1 capsule of your B complex daily. I love your magnesium drink, healthy gut support, collagen, and thyroid support. I would like to use the mitochondrial and hormonal support too. My genes do have 2 copies of the MTHFR gene, and I'm postmenopausal. Oh, and I use about 20,000 IU of your vitamin D in order to keep my level above 50. I can take every supplement I would like to. I can't take every supplement I would like to, but how do I prioritize? If I took the full dose of these, would I get too much of most vitamins? All right, it's a great question. So I have lots of podcasts on this particular topic and the hierarchy. So you're basically there though. That's the nice thing, is that you're almost where you should be. And so my highest recommendation is actually the full dose of the daily foundational protocol. And I know you're splitting that right now with your son, but you're also looking at adding additional things such as the collagen, and I think you said maybe cell boost, and the inflammasoothe and hormone support, the mitochondrial support that we're talking about, the daily thyroid support, healthy gut support, magnesium, they're all great. There's no doubt about it. But remember, they're called the daily foundational protocol for a reason. And so it's the daily nutritional support shake or the activated multivitamin, what you're doing. So that's the number one. So you would just want to do a full dose of that. And when we look at that, that's about $2 a day. So I know obviously all of these things can add up, but that's like the cost of most coffee now is like $4 when you go out, or maybe even $5. But that one's super important. The daily omega-3 support, you're getting 2 grams a day, so that's fantastic. Would obviously love you to keep doing that. And then the next most important, you've got your daily fruit and vegetable blend. If you're not getting 7 to 10 servings of different types of fruits and vegetables every day, we definitely want to go with that. And then there's the daily probiotic. And then we have the daily digestive enzymes. So if you need digestive support, that absolutely is great. So after that, it's based on what you need. So if you really want to fine tune what your body needs, you'll run the Big 5 labs. And that pinpoints what you need for vitamins and minerals. Now you might say to yourself, well, I can't afford the Big 5 labs. Totally understand. So then I would do the starter kit. And the starter kit is less than half the price. It's a third of the price, third of the price of the Big 5 labs. And it will tell you all your vitamin and mineral-based needs. And that'll be another great place to start. And then as we get older, the advanced collagen support and the advanced renewal system for the mitochondria and inflammation are absolutely fantastic. So all of these can be found at StephenCabral.com/shop. The 20,000 IUs of vitamin D has me a little worried though, just because that's a very high dosage on a daily basis. But maybe you're not using it on a daily basis. Maybe I misread that. What I would look for is actually the cofactors of vitamin D, which are in the full dose of the daily activated multi, which is the K2 in there, the calcium, the magnesium, the zinc. You need extras of those to better absorb vitamin D. So the only thing that has me a little worried is the 20,000 IUs of vitamin D that you're taking daily. Typically, you don't really want to exceed 5,000 IUs a day for most people. So what you may be missing, and again, I may be misunderstanding, maybe you're saying it's not on a daily basis, but what I'm looking at here is you might be missing the cofactors, the vitamin K2, the zinc, the magnesium, the calcium. Those are all cofactors, and those are found in your daily nutritional support shake or the full dose of your daily activated multi. So that's why I really want to start with the foundation, and then we add on that vitamin D3. And then, of course, like you said, testing is what's really most important. But if you're taking that much vitamin D, we need to make sure that you're also increasing your magnesium as well to keep that calcium out of your arteries. That's really important. All right. And thank you for writing in. Cindy is up next. Do you think a microbiome could get used to a probiotic and therefore not work as well? A few years ago, when I started taking your probiotic, it immediately helped me to have a bowel movement daily. That doesn't happen anymore. 2 bowel movements weekly is now the norm again. Any ideas besides adding magnesium citrate, which I started doing? Thanks for all you do. Yeah, for me, again, I am a path to clarity type of practitioner. And so the way that I've historically been able to be hopefully the last stop in people's journey, my team and I, is that we lab test. And so I can for sure tell you why you're only having 2 bowel movements a week if I have your lab data in front of me. And so that would be the big 5. And if possible, adding on the bacteria and parasite stool test. I know that's not available for everybody to do, but if you can, why it helps me is with the stress minimum metabolism test, I see your elevated levels or not, maybe not elevated levels of cortisol, and maybe it's low thyroid. Okay, that could lead to constipation, stress, and low thyroid. So I would look at that. And then on a minerals and metals test, I could also potentially see those elevated electrolyte markers or very low as well. So I could look at that. On a Candida metabolic and vitamins test, I might see yeast overgrowth. I might see bacterial overgrowth. Okay, so that leads to another reason for constipation. I would look at your food sensitivities. I could look at your food sensitivities causing inflammation, and then I would have that. And then my inflammation test as part of the big 5. If you're inflamed, that could be affecting overall bowel and peristalsis in the gut as well. So truly, I like to look at the big 5. That's how I prioritize things. But, if you're just saying, can you tell me what to do without figuring out the root cause? Well, for sure, you could add psyllium husk 2 to 3 times a day. And again, I have to give you my disclaimer because, again, there could be something deeper going on. I can't provide you with any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis of any kind. Just giving general health education here. So you might take psyllium husk 1 to 3 times per day. You might take the calming magnesium in the morning and in the evening, and you might also take the alkalizing vitamin C in the morning and in the evening. And so those 3 could be really helpful in terms of getting the bowels moving, no doubt about it, but I would certainly love to know the root cause rather than just causing the bowels to have a bowel movement, if you see what I'm saying. All right, Cindy, hopefully that's helpful. Barjan is up next. Hi, Dr. Bral. Thank you very much for the service that you are offering to help people all around the world. It's truly incredible. I have a lot of trust in your knowledge. So I'd like to ask about natural multivitamins made by processing Saccharomyces cerevisiae fermentation. I had an IgG food tolerance test done several years ago when I visited in the US, where there was low reactivity, yellow, to baker's yeast and brewer's yeast, and high reactivity to Candida albicans. Do you think that fermented multivitamin could cause some inflammation for me in the long run, even though the yeast is no longer living in the final product? There are no functional medicine supplements available where I live. The only alternative is one US-based organic fermented multivitamin. Please advise. Thank you, Barjan. Or it's spelled 2 different ways, Barjan and then Bajran. So I apologize. However, it is spelled. That's either my bad or my team's bad copying in. I apologize. So here's what I would like to say. I am not the biggest advocate of taking nutritional supplements extracted from Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is different than Saccharomyces boulardii. But basically, they're both yeasts, and neither one would I want to extract vitamins from. So that's me. That's not how I would like it, and I have seen them to show up negatively on a food sensitivity test. However, on yours, you were higher to Candida albicans, which is slightly different inside of the gut than necessarily a Saccharomyces cerevisiae, although it could potentially lead to an environment where that Candida grows in the gut, but I can't necessarily say that. Most parts of the world can get a multivitamin that's functional medicine formulated to them. So I would try to look a little bit more, ask around, and see if we can find one for you. I think that would be important. And let me see where your other question was. No, that's basically it. So do you think fermented vitamins can cause some inflammation? Well, I do believe they can cause gut issues because I've seen it happen over and over. So especially for IBS sensitive individuals that have bloating and that have gut distension, I've absolutely seen yeast-based supplements cause gut issues. So no doubt about it. I can't give you definitive proof on that. And I always take things on a bio-individual case-by-case basis, but essentially that's what I can share with you for right now. And I would love you to get, in my opinion, a cleaner, they're not pharmaceuticals, but pharmaceutical grade, created in that way, cleaner for you. And I think that may lead to less issues. So I wish I could give you a better answer. I apologize. All right, Marina is up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. Since ectopic beats are caused by electrical disturbances in the heart, is it same to use touch therapy devices such as Apollo, etc.? I think should say safe. So that could just be like an autocorrect. Is it safe to use touch therapy devices like Apollo? It's a great question. So Apollo and others are basically sending a wave of low-level electricity. I think technically it would be vibration-based electricity into the body. And could that cause an electrical disturbance in the heart? I think that would be a better question to ask Apollo necessarily than me to see if they have those particular studies on that. I've actually spoken with the founder of Apollo, and he's a legitimate scientist. He's a very smart individual, and I'm impressed with his knowledge base. It is not a product that I'm currently using right now. I've tried it out in the past. That's not to say it's not a good product, but I think it's worth asking and reaching out to them because they've had great success with it. I have lots of devices. They're literally all over my desk right now that send out vibratory based. There's another one right here that I'm going to be reviewing in a few weeks. So I really do my research on these things, anything that I recommend and review. But that's an interesting one. That is a medical based question, and that's not something that I can provide the answer on. So, all right. Hopefully, at least that got you in the right place, Marina. I personally am not worried about these devices. I use these devices that are beneficial for me for sure. Jessica's up next. There's quite a lot of videos on thyroid health, but I'm specifically want to know about reversing thyroid nodules. Tests show that my thyroid is functioning fine. However, I have 5 nodules that have been tested. They are benign. How can I reverse or eliminate my nodules? I'm already on a gluten-free and dairy-free diet. I don't drink or smoke. I certainly need to exercise more, and I have looked at supplementation, selenium, vitamin D, and iodine. Very much appreciated, Jessica. Jessica, I can't recommend enough going through my thyroid specific based shows. And I know it sounds like you may have already gotten to some of those, which is fantastic. But I talk about all the different nutrients the thyroid needs, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to remove the nodules in that way. Again, I can't give you any medical treatment plans, but it's my opinion, you want to look at things like proteolytic enzymes and pancreatic enzymes that would, when taken when fasting, can actually go and it's literally what they do, but it sounds very mundane how I'm saying it, is they literally go and they eat up tissue that shouldn't be there. Viruses, proteins, cysts, etc. So the best thing that I've seen are longer fasts, such as something like the functional medicine detox that we do every quarter. You can learn more about that at stephencabral.com/detox, along with the enzymes. I've just seen that work really well. That's what I personally use in my practice. Now, there's a lot more you can do, but intermittent fasting combined with longer fasts, not all the time, and the enzymes can really lead to the results that that can be beneficial. So that's the place I would absolutely get started. And I like to keep that kind of simple and straightforward. And that's what I've seen work really well. Okay. Joey's up next. Joey says, hello, Dr. Ball. Can you please explain the differences between liposomal and methylated vitamins? Some manufacturers claim that liposomal technology is superior to all others because of its way to get inside the cells. Is liposomal delivery truly superior? Please explain how it works. Thank you. Yeah, happy to do that. So methylated and liposomal are different. Methylated is a specific type of vitamin that is able to be more bioidentical with how your body would absorb it and utilize it. So for example, I'll give you the exact example that most people allude to, which is vitamin B9, that's folate. So There are a lot of people, you've heard them on the podcasts before, say, I'm heterozygous or homozygous for an MTHFR gene mutation. MTHFR stands for methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. That's what MTHFR stands for. And what it essentially means is the body's ability to take folic acid and actually create methylfolate, which is the usable form of folate in the body. And then that folate can be used to decrease inflammation, to help with DNA replication, and so much more. So the goal is that for anti-aging, for inflammation, for dis-ease in the body, you want to be able to take your B vitamins in and properly methylate them for all processes within the body, within the cell. So how it one way to look at this is that, let's say you're eating foods. All right, well, the foods are basically moving from a folate form to a folic acid form to a 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate form to methylfolate. So our job is just to get them in that methylfolate form. So some people, they don't methylate as well. They can't get it. They can't get it from food or specifically folic acid, which we don't use in our practice for a supplement, especially with pregnant women as well, to methylfolate. So we just give them the methylfolate. So all that to say is that we give people in our practice, we were just talking about with our friend earlier, Bajran, is that when you give someone just folic acid and they can't process it to methylfolate, it actually creates more inflammation in the body. So we give people methylfolate in a functional medicine formula like our daily activated multi or the daily nutritional support. I know these things because I deal with these things in my own genetics as well. I always say if it wasn't for bad genetics, I wouldn't have any genetics at all, that's for sure. And now liposomal is different. Okay, so liposomal does not mean methylated and methylated does not mean liposomal. Liposomal is taking a vitamin and essentially attaching it to a fat, a phospholipid. And what they've found is that for many vitamins, when you attach it to a phospholipid, it actually is then able to pass that membrane of the cell easier or tissue and make it into the cell to a far greater degree. So enhanced absorption. Now, that is what's said. I do want to share with you that does work for many individuals. The problem is, what doesn't work for a lot of people is the breakdown and absorption of the liposomal fat because they don't properly use all of that fat, that phospholipid, as well as others. And it's oftentimes difficult to identify who that individual is. I've found that this is an individual who's typically dealing with more of the mitochondrial issues, the fatigue issues. There may be more of the Th2 dominant. They have a weaker digestion. They might maybe we even find this out in for future testing, ApoE genotype 3 or 4. So I don't use a ton of liposomal-based products in my practice. Now, some I do. I'll use a liposomal glutathione, I'll use a few others, but for me, I don't really need necessarily a liposomal vitamin C or other liposomal products. Again, I'm not against them, but I always try to do, like, this is literally my whole philosophy because I have access to anything that I'm really looking for in terms of labs or products or whatever it is. So I'm always thinking, I want to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So I look for methylated forms, I look for easy to absorb forms, and I look for hypoallergenic. They're not going to create a reaction in many people. So that's how I choose to practice. But again, with bioindividuality, you might find a way that works better for you. I don't think we can truly say there's always one best way. And that's why I always stay open to how I can best help the individual, not try to make them fit into any particular practice that I may have. So hopefully that answer was helpful. That is our show for today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll be back tomorrow on our Motivation and Mindset Monday. Have an amazing rest of the day, everybody. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.